Sweet November. It's here and it's hard to believe.
Welcome to November.
What is Iowa? What is this place? It's incredible.
First of all, it's probably the biggest deer I've ever hunted, the biggest deer I've ever targeted.
Hey, don't try that at home. That's dangerous. I couldn't sit here and let them die like that.
No, as soon as they go the other way, it really starts to itch.
Just came into 5 yards at the base of the tree. That deer has worn us out.
And Brooks, you don't even understand. Oh my gosh. That's the biggest deer I've ever shot.
Comes into 17 yards. I've been looking forward to that for so long.
Man, that's awesome. What a morning.
Oh gosh, look at that thing.
Without hunting on the ground, and that's exactly what we're going to do tonight.
Chasing November, Season 5 begins now. Though we sharpen our skills and make our plans with November in mind, the whitetail season starts months before. During the off-season, Jared Mills moved back to eastern Iowa, where he has permission to hunt several farms. The move also brings him much closer to the river farm that he and Mike Reed own. Lying in the river's floodplain, it can be very challenging to grow crops and to plant food plots on this farm. The previous fall was a washout. 2 different floods wiped out the food plots and scattered the deer. While some deer did return with the receding floodwaters, the farm was not nearly as good as it had been in 2017, the year Mike and Jared bought it. Fortunately, 2019 proves dry enough that Mike and Jared are able to get their big and beastie, sorghum, and bean plots planted. With the seed in the ground, the 2 bow hunters turn their attention to the bucks they hope to hunt. 3 grab their attention. 1 is a big frame 10-pointer that is new to the farm. This great buck is showing up on nearly every camera, creating the hope that the river farm is now his home. The second buck is one that made a big jump from 2018, growing from a basic 10-pointer that Jared encountered that year into a massive antlered buck with numerous sticker points. But their top target is a buck named Merino. Despite many trail camera photos of the buck during the 2018 season, neither Jared nor Mike saw him that year. Merino has not shown up yet this summer, but the hunters are not concerned. The river farm is part of the buck's fall range, but generally not part of his summer range. When October comes, they believe Merino will make his appearance. Iowa's bow season doesn't open until October 1st. But Mike Reed is not willing to wait that long before climbing into a tree stand. On September 6th, Mike loads his truck and heads south to hunt with a friend in Kentucky.
Like way off, so they should be able to see us from down low. September 9th. Grant and I are set up for the afternoon hunt in the same set we've hunted the last 2 afternoons. Yesterday we got here at 3:30 and our primary target was standing under the stand right here. He was with another deer that spooked. I don't think he really saw us. He ran off to the south. Main problem is this is our 3rd time in here, and every time we get here we spook deer out from under the stand, so they're just bedding right around the stand. It's only 3 o'clock. We got in here really early. We got a straight east wind blowing back over the CRP, or it's supposed to be. I always say you can never trust an east wind. It's always trying to blow from the west, and when it's light and variable, you just never know what's going to happen. So we got the ozonics going. And with any luck, that buck's gonna show up tonight and we'll get a shot at him.
I'm sorry. I'm having trouble connecting to the network.
does it keep going off? That's unbelievable. That is terrible. That's first right there. So he popped out at like 50 yards and he was coming in. And I stood up to grab my bow and get the GoPro going. And somehow the side button on my phone got pressed in. And so Siri started saying she's having trouble with her connection. He heard it and he went back to the south. So probably just blew our chance for today.
That same evening, 30 miles away, team member and Kentucky resident John Kirby is also in the stand. John is looking for a giant 8-pointer that he filmed from a nearby freeway a week earlier.
Alright, it's about 6 o'clock. I haven't seen any movement yet, but that's pretty typical. All the movement's about that last hour before dark. Hoping Freeway gets the memo. We're hoping he makes it to these beans before shooting light's over with, which is 7:33 today, so we've got about an hour and a half.
The buck that John now refers to as Freeway steps out on the opposite side of the big bean field. The observation stand was a success, and now the bow hunter knows right where to set up the next evening.
It's about 5:30. Sitting here waiting on Freeway. Last night he came in about 7 o'clock, 30 minutes before into shooting light. Fingers crossed that he does the same thing tonight. Got a pretty good feeling he does. We got some beans here that are much greener than the rest of the field. All the other part of the field is really starting to turn. These beans are really holding out. Still nice and green. Not a lot of acorns on this farm, so they're still keyed in on these beans. The wind's holding up still, and hopefully it continues to do so, or else we'll get out of here real quick so we don't mess things up. But hopefully things stay how they are and Freeway gets the memo and makes the move tonight. Just center punched him. Oh my goodness. He came out exactly where he came out last night. I was just about to give out. The bugs are eating me alive. I've never itched so bad in my entire life. I just kept saying, it's gonna be worth it, it's gonna be worth it. And man, I just freaking center punched Freeway. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe it just happened like that.
We got an arrow here.
Watch it be a rock. I see horns, boys. And man, I was wrong. He's in velvet. Unbelievable. What a toad. What a stud. Look at the body on that guy. Well, here we are with Freeway. You know, the story ended tonight. It's a deer we've been watching all summer long. I had a lot of high hopes for this deer coming into Kentucky's bow season here, 2019. I actually essentially just hunted some observation stands until I really got a beat on exactly what old Freeway was doing. He transitioned bedding areas on me. We got back on him, and we actually saw him last night. We eased in here this afternoon, kind of banking that he'd do the same thing, and he did. Old Freeway, he came through for us, and a lot of hard work, a lot of late nights. I have to thank my wife for putting up with it. Got to thank my great friends, J.D. Williams for letting me hunt out here, great friend Josh Honeycutt for helping me tonight and helping me all season. We've been strategizing on a bunch of deer, and man, I just couldn't be happier that it all happened tonight.
Mike Reed continues his Kentucky quest, but each day the hunting gets harder as the bucks begin to break up their bachelor groups and drift toward their fall ranges. 3 days after John Kirby tagged the giant velvet-antlered 8-pointer, Mike gets his chance.
That is crazy.
After Mike tags his unique buck, he loads up and heads back north to Iowa, hoping to return in time to spend a few days hunting the urban zone around his home before the statewide season opens. Team member Joe Baker, hunting around Indianapolis, is also hoping to cash in on an urban zone hunt. Joe has been spending the summer preparing for the season with his sons Jace and Mason. Their top buck is a deer they call Muley, who has been showing up on camera consistently. Summer scouting and a few early hunts gives the Bakers the information they need to narrow their options to one great spot.
We're here in Marion County, here in Indianapolis, Indiana. Today's September the 26th. This is the spot that we've been getting a lot of the pictures of the big bucks in daylight. So we have a super wide 8-pointer with some extra sticker points, and we named him Muley. We're down here in the meat of things trying to put a big buck down, so we're just going to sit back here and see what happens. Just sit down and relax, and hopefully it happens tonight. Well, it's 6 o'clock. This is him walking by Jay's about 5 minutes ago. Fake. Muley is coming up the side of this great bottom. Get your sticks breaking. Might be making a rub. Jay's just killed a doe.
I've never seen anything like that. Son. That was Muley. And somehow, that beast come right up on the rock.
First of all, I have something to say. This deer walked 10 yards away from me tonight, and I didn't have a buck tag yet. And then 20 minutes later, two does walked in. I killed them both out of madness. But yeah, so he's lucky.
So anyway, we went and got our stuff and got it all loaded up. We was coming through that grass field, and since the entry was high and I don't think it exited, hold off, Jace. I think we just wanted to give it a little bit more time, but the blood is a lot better.
There's a dead deer.
Huh?
There's a dead deer right there.
Son. Well, we finally drug this thing up from the river. It fell down all the way down the hill, and definitely one of the craziest hunts that I have ever been part of. It's just, we knew this deer was in there and we had trail camera pictures of it, and it was just crazy because Jace was in his tree, and he texted me, he said, Dad, he said, Muley just come walking by. And of course he couldn't shoot it because he didn't have a buck tag. The activity of what happened, it come running in on us, almost ran right through our shooting lane. And I was leaning clear out of the stand, and Zach did a great job videoing right over the shoulder. We're just excited to be able to bring this hunt to you from Indiana, from the concrete jungle of Indianapolis. And just having a good time out here, and just feel really blessed tonight. This would be a hunt that I never forget, for sure.
My own preparation for the season followed two paths. First, I had to get the farm ready by planting several small food plots in the areas where I hoped to create first-class buck traps. Second, I needed to figure out which bucks were still on the farm and where they were spending their summer. That would give me a starting point to find them back after they shed their velvet and broke up their bachelor groups. After a dozen hot evenings spent filming soybean fields, Drake Lamb and I have found several solid candidates. One was a massive 8-pointer that Drake filmed on August 8th. That buck has been on the farm for the past 2 seasons and will now be a top prize. Another was a buck I called the Bladed 10, a deer that nearly died from fighting in 2017, regressed to an 8-pointer in 2018, and now resurfaced with antlers almost identical to what he carried 2 years earlier. The Bladed 10 is also a prime target. Other bucks made it onto my radar as well, but didn't necessarily make it to the top of the list. Despite the impressive bucks we found on the beans, it was the 2 that we didn't find that I thought about the most. Could they have died from EHD? A slight outbreak of the dreaded disease had hit my farm. Nothing like 2012, but we did find several dead deer in the creeks and ponds, including a really nice young buck with a ton of potential. One of the missing bucks is one I called Upturn, a deer that I filmed in August of 2018 and found on my trail cameras throughout October of that year. The other no-show was a big 10-pointer that we filmed chasing does on a soybean field the previous November. Both of these bucks had been a bit too young the year before, but showed huge potential. I am hopeful these bucks will show up once the annual transition to the fall ranges is complete. Team member Owen Riegler is coming off a tremendous season that saw him tag a massive old warrior he called Krabs. Now, as Owen finalizes his 2019 preparation, he is trying to relocate the giant buck he missed the previous season, a buck he called Uno. Though Owen has found no sign of the buck since that November evening, hope yet remains that Uno will reappear. Owen now turns his attention to 2 bucks he filmed in 2018, Picket Fence and Digits. In addition, Owen found matched sheds to both deer this past winter. Summer photos reveal that both bucks are still alive. A new buck also showed up, one Owen decides to call Wolverine. Owen's season shapes up to be an exciting one.
I'm looking forward to it. It's kind of like Christmas time. I think this time of the year is almost more exciting sometimes than the hunting season itself.
The list is pretty good this year. There's a lot of good target bucks. One thing's for sure, I can't wait to get in the stand October 1st.
So these will be all food right here. Something green mixed in with this corn. I don't have a camera right here, but I'll bet you that picket fence buck's using this now.
This is actually one of the new farms I got permission on. It's probably the one that I'm most excited about. Season's coming less than a month, so we're definitely excited to be up in a tree.
I know Max and I are super eager to start hunting. It's right around the corner. Can't wait to start the 2019 season.
November seems a long way from the September sauna, but this is when the real season begins. During the coming weeks, we will get down to the serious business of finding and attempting to pattern the bucks we will be hunting this fall. Late summer lacks the intensity of the rut, but it makes up for that in many ways with the excitement of discovery. Every card pull is now like Christmas morning as we hastily shove the plastic and silicone chips into our computers with high expectations, hoping to see how the bucks we know have grown and changed, while also finding new ones to test our skills. While most seasons have not yet opened, these late summer days are priceless. This is when we start looking for the edge pieces of the puzzle we hope to build. The one with the picture of the thick-necked buck, steam coming from his nose as he walks slowly across a frosty morning meadow. That's the one we have started working on. That is the image we hope to fill in when we are once again chasing November.